Welcome to my channel, Kenny Garcia with Confieso. It's a song that was brought to my attention some time ago, and I said to fans of Kenny Garcia's, of course I'll play it. And I didn't get round to it because of the long list of new people I wanted to bring onto my channel. And in fairness, I now have come around to the last part of my list, and Kenny Garcia was on next. So here she is. So bienvenida, welcome to my channel, Kenny, and felicidades to all the fans that are going to be cheering, saying she's finally on CC's Europop Music and getting an English translation for the song that has proven to be so popular in Spanish-speaking countries and singing countries. Today's singer, we're going to give you, as always when they're new artists to my channel, I give you a bit of a background to them. Encarnita Kenny Garcia de Jesus is a Puerto Rican singer and songwriter. And Garcia first appeared in television in a 2004 contest, and then she was widely considered since then as being the most successful non-winner in the history of the show. In 2006, Garcia signed a recording contract with Sony BMG, releasing her debut album, which was a commercial success, spawning 4 top 40 singles in the Billboard Latin tracks. She's won 6 Latin Grammy Awards, I need my coffee, out of 20 nominations, and has been nominated for 3 Grammy Awards. That's the singer that you're going to hear in a few minutes. She divorced her husband, Carlos Padel, after marrying him in a private ceremony in 2013. And then in 2016, she went public when she announced in a same-sex relationship with Jocelyn Troche, they had got married. And Garcia announced that she and Jocelyn have been happily married since. I think when it comes to critical response, there's no better saying in my research which says this: many artists of international renown, as well as several music magazines and labels, have spoken about the great talents of Kenny, how in such a short time has earned the affection of her fans. And I hope that extends after you listening to it and are of English speaking. I hope you embrace her as well. There's a lot of music we love around the world, all of us, no matter what country we're in. And even if we don't understand the actual lyrics, we love the artist and the performance and just the voice and the vocals, which you will love with Kenny. And where you lack in knowledge of the lyrics and the language and the translation, you appreciate just the music, the vibe, and how it is delivered to you. And that's what Kenny is great at doing. It doesn't matter what language you speak, she breaks down the barriers in all her performances. This is a video, but I suggest go on YouTube and check out the live version. And of course, a song like this has produced many cover versions by many other aspiring YouTube cover songstresses and songsters who wish to emulate Kenny's status. But it's been hard work, and 10 years later, Kenny Garcia has established herself in the music industry in the hearts of millions of fans around the world. I hope she does that today to you. So don't forget to hit the translate button, everybody, on the video to get your language bringing up the words. It's the best I can do. I translate the Spanish to English, and then from the English, I'm hoping the Google Translate does a decent job, at least, translating it into your language. If not, I can only apologize in advance. But I have the English version of these lyrics ready and waiting for a song that explores the emotions and longing one feels after losing someone they love. The lyrics express a deep yearning for the presence of that person who has departed and the emptiness that their absence creates. Take a listen, take a look, come back, listen to what I have to say about the lyrics and understand this beautiful video and get a better understanding of why Kenny Garcia should be in your playlist and have a place in your heart musically.
Allí miré tu foto en la nevera de aquel viaje que hicimos en noviembre. Sonrío al descubrir tus mil maneras para quererme. Hoy, como cada tarde, te imaginaba. Confieso que me haces tanta falta para decirme todo va a estar bien, para escucharme con una guitarra, sentado con tu taza de café. Lloré porque tu voz no está en la casa, reí porque me amaste con todo tu ser. Es una mezcla que me agarra el alma y rompe cada esquina de mi ser. Y cómo no, si eras mi todo, y cómo no. La noche buena se vuelve más fría y en abril se caen todas las flores y siento que me hablas cada día en mil canciones. Hoy, como cada tarde, te imaginaba. Confieso que me haces tanta falta para decirme todo va a estar bien, para escucharme con una guitarra, sentado con tu taza de café. Lloré porque tu voz no está en la casa, reí porque me amaste con todo tu ser. Es una mezcla que me agarra el alma y rompe cada esquina de mi ser. Y cómo no, si eras mi todo, y cómo no. Miro al cielo y no me basta, y tus fotos que me engañan y me hacen creer que hoy llamas en la tarde para saludarme. Confieso que me haces tanta falta para decirme todo va a estar bien, para escucharme con una guitarra, sentado con tu taza de café. Lloré porque tu voz no está en la casa, reí porque me amaste con todo tu ser. Es una mezcla que me agarra el alma y rompe cada esquina de mi ser. Y cómo no, si eras mi todo, y cómo no.
Wasn't that just beautiful? I have to say, I don't understand the lyrics fully, even though my partner is Spanish. I have an appreciation of Spanish. I understand when people are speaking Spanish, but it's just when they sing like that, I'm listening to the music, I'm watching the video, and tears are flooding because I'm thinking, oh, I can relate to this so much. Beautiful. And you can understand why Cani Garcia is in the hearts of our fans. And when she goes and sings this song live in concerts, check out a live performance of this song. All of them sing with her. Now I really did want to play the live version, but I thought it would be more beautiful to portray a video that she was heavily involved with in the way that she wanted it to be delivered. So in other words, when you listen to the lyrics and you watch the video, you get a pictorial in your head. So we go to the meaning of the lyrics, and as I said, it's one that explores those emotions and one that feels a sense of loss after somebody has died. And in the first verse, I'll just bring up now because it's all out. The first verse says, "There I looked at your photo on the fridge. From that trip we took in November, I smiled when I discovered your thousands of ways to love me. Today, like every afternoon, I imagined you." And the chorus continues, "I confess that I missed you so much to tell me everything will be okay, to listen to myself with the guitar sitting with your cup of coffee. I cry because your voice is not in the house. I laugh because you loved me with all your being. It's a mix that grabs my soul and breaks in every corner of my being. And how could it not if you were my everything? How could it not?" Well, I thought of my mother, and I thought of that woman in the video, and I found it very relatable, the video and the words that I was listening that Canny was singing. Because in the first verse, Canny reminisces about that trip she took with the person she missed, seeing the photo on the refrigerator, and finding solace in remembering the various ways she loved this person and they loved her. That chorus I just read out is an extent of that longing and that continuation in the lyrics. And when you write lyrics like this, it's a way of it's almost like a confession to God and the Holy Spirit, and that Holy Spirit being the spirit of the departed loved one that you're thinking about. In this case, it's obviously a thing where I think it's her grandmother that she's thinking of, or her mother. And the chorus is about that longing, confessing, and saying to the departed one how much they missed, and how much those reassurances, those words of wisdom, those hugs, that warm coffee, that warm soup that warmed the belly on many a cold night, was a great reassurance and support at the times. And it's things like that that we take for granted in a world where we want so much that we forget the basics. And my mother, everybody, taught me a great saying: if you have a roof over your head, food in your stomach, your cupboards are not bare, and you have good health, then don't complain about life. You're here for a reason. So, they imagine. I feel Canny imagines that person, or the spirit imagines that person playing the guitar, and hopefully through the lyrics and Canny's songs, she hopes that loved one will listen to what she's singing about. Because singers and performers sing, they write beautiful lyrics, and then they sing their heart, and they put their hearts into lyrics, and they sing out their feelings, whereas a lot of people keep them in. And that's echoed through the whole house throughout this video. Now, what it says here in the second verse is, Christmas Eve gets colder, and in April all the flowers fall, and I feel that you speak to me every day in 1,000 songs. Today, like every afternoon, I imagined you. I confess that I miss you so much. In the chorus it continues to tell me everything will be okay, to listen to myself with a guitar sitting with your cup of coffee. I cry because your voice is not in the house. I laugh because you loved me with all your being. It's a mix that grabs my soul and breaks in every corner of my being. And how could it not? If you were my everything, how could it not? I distinctly remember my father, who worshipped my mother, idolized her, and she idolized him, and they were the perfect couple, because sometimes they were so in love they forgot about their children. And I mean that in a very good way, not bad way. And I remember when my mother died and she wasn't in the house, he would say it was so silent, the silence was killing him. And yet when the house had when my mother was alive and in the house, my father said to me, do you know what I missed? The sound of her and her friends in the kitchen making tea, because, you know, Latin people would have coffee, Irish people, English people tend to drink a lot of tea. My mother was like that, and she would make tea for her friends, and they'd all sit round and be in the kitchen area and all be laughing and everything. And he said to me, the silence in this house since then, and the emptiness in the kitchen, and the cold teapot that's never been used since, mentally destroyed him when she died. It was the silence. And I always remember that. So this song with its words is very poignant. It goes into, let me bring it up now. It goes into what's called the bridge of the lyrics, and it says, I look at the sky and it's not enough, and your photos that deceive me and make me believe that today you call in the afternoon to say hello. Well, that's reflecting on, in Ireland, we say, you know, when you stand in a garden and suddenly you feel the wind and you feel it around you, you get colder, and then you hear the wind rustling through the leaves of the trees of a nearby tree or branch. Well, that's a loved one whispering, spiritually saying, I'm near, I'll always be here, never too far away. And that's what it means when you're in a house and you speak to somebody every day because you're missing them. And you make me believe that today you call in the afternoon. Well, there's many ways they do it. I don't know how many people have told me they walked in, left the keys on the kitchen table, walked back out, took off their coat, shoes, put on their slippers, came in to freshen up and looked at the kitchen table and the keys were missing. And they went on a crazy search looking for keys. And then 5 minutes later, they'd find them in a different place. That often happens, and that's real, because millions of people can relate to that. And when she talks about this in a song, it's about that desire for form of connection, you know, the yearning after the death, looking at the sky and the photos. It almost becomes a way to deceive yourself into thinking that that person may reach out, like one of those ways I've mentioned, even if it's a phone call in the afternoon. And that's another thing that a lot of people say, the silence of the phone, because how many times they used to ring their loved one and now the loved one's gone. Overall, I feel Kenny Garcia's song Confessio portrays the depth of love and loss. It highlights that emptiness we all of us, even to this day I do with my mother, emptiness feel and yearning that persists after someone dear has gone. And my dear beloved grandmother as well, my mother's mother. It reflects on the universal sentiment of missing someone and the longing for their presence to bring comfort and reassurance. Well, I'm going to give you this piece of advice for everybody suffering after the loss of a loved one. And it could be a pet, because pets, you know, a lot of people who are single have pets and they're like loved ones. And if you're suffering a loss, this is what I say to you. Don't avoid looking at yourself in the mirror and saying to yourself, don't avoid this. In fact, do it and say to yourself, I will be strong. I must be strong. Not for the sake of mankind, for the sake of my mind. I will get through this. And those dark days, I believe you me, if you make that your chant, your dark days will turn into more summery days. Thank you for listening. Take care.